As I was looking at the tape before packing this film up, I realized that I had some space left on the back of the tape to do a little more. So what I thought I'd do before I send this off, particularly to my folks in Nebraska, is to take a little footage of the house in Boston and show what we've done to the backyard. I know that you've had a hard time visualizing what we've done to the backyard this summer, so for just a few seconds here I'll put this on for anyone else who may be looking at this. If you're not interested in this, you can shut off the machine at any time. In any case, here's where I'm now standing in Boston, and after having gotten back from New Hampshire, and am standing sort of by the front door. And what I'm going to do is just go up the stairs. And those of you who've been in the house know that that's the dining room there ahead of us. And I'm going to walk through the dining room and get a shot of what the backyard looks like now that we've cleaned up the mess back there and put a new backyard fence up. And then I'll go downstairs and get it from a different angle. But this is a good way to start, because you can see, I'm just looking through the window here, that what we've done is, if you remember, we had a stockade fence back there, and we've torn all that out. And from the neighbor's wall here on the right, which is at International House of Fellowship, we've built a 7, 8, 9-foot wall, depending upon where you stand, of brick. And it goes all the way around, all the way back to the neighbor's wall on the other side. And this is kind of gives you a sense of what it looks like from the top. I'll go downstairs now and actually show it from that angle too. I might say that we left a parking space behind the gate back there that's even wider than it used to be, so that there's room for one vehicle behind the gate, to park parallel to the alley. Now here I am on the first floor in the kitchen, which everyone I think has seen by now, and the sunlight's going to be tough on it because I'm taking this in the morning, and it's going to take a while for the camera to adjust to all that morning sun coming through the windows. But here I'm just showing how that fence looks sort of from inside the house now. If you remember, those of you who've been here, you know that originally, way back when now, 3 years ago, before we started all this construction, it was through this door that old lean-to shed was on. And now, ever since we tore that shed down for the last 2 years, all we've had is a mud hole back here. But as you can see, what happens is you walk out the door, and you're greeted by this very high wall. And what we have is two gardens, or two areas within the backyard here that are kind of set off as little, I don't know what you call them, like areas for different uses. This right here when you come out of the stairs, there's this little step, and then in this area right here, between this batch of raised beds, is a little patio that is eventually going to have a table on it for sort of eating out in the summer. And then you walk to over there, and there's another 2 steps, and you go to a lower patio, which is just going to be kind of an area which will be surrounded by a lot of flowers and trees on both sides. And then, as you can see, what you do in the far opposite corner is you go up a couple steps to get back to the ground level where the car sits behind the gate, and on that area right in there, that kind of raised area where those iron gates are right now, in that corner, in that far corner, we're going to put a wood shed, just to make a little shed that'll be about 2 feet by 4 feet. That'll have those iron grates as the doors on it, and that's where we'll put the wood for the fireplaces inside the house. So that yet has to be built, but everything else has been built. And the only thing that's left to do, we put in the dirt earlier this week. Only thing that's left to do is to now plant it after Labor Day when it cools down a little, and we can buy the trees and the shrubs and whatever that Margaret wants to put in here. Margaret's taken some pictures along the way, still photographs this summer as this was built. It was really quite an amazing project to see how deep they had to excavate to put the foundations for these brick walls. That wall right there, for example, that far wall, which is about 8 feet now, when you stand in it from on the inside, goes down about another 4 feet, so that you're down around 10, 12 feet on all of these walls because they had to put the foundation below freeze line. It's really quite an excavation task. Okay, I'll shut this off and then I'll just take one couple photographs from the opposite corner to see what it looks like as you look back at the house, and then we'll finally call it quits here. All right, this is what it looks like from the doorway coming in from the alley. There's the back door to the house and the bay that we had put on, 2 years ago when we fixed up the kitchen. And this is a good way of looking at the different elevations on the beds, so that you can see how there's these beds that sort of wrap around that first patio space, and the beds all have the same kind of angles on them that the bay window has. It's all a repeat of the bay pattern. That eventually will all be covered with shrubs and plants and greenery. And then there's the little walkway with the steps down into this lower patio area, where the bricks are set at with a different pattern than they are up there. And as you can see, here too there are slightly raised beds around this area. It's been completed now for about 6 weeks, and amazingly already one gets a sense of privacy, which is what it was all about, which one didn't have in the old days when there was just that stockade fence here. Anyway, that was this year's project in Boston. And with this project, we are now, we think, completely done. All that's left to do is live here for another 20 years, hopefully to get some enjoyment out of this, and then retire up in New Hampshire or someplace. All right, for those of you who've been asking, what have you been doing in your backyard, this answers the question. And with that, we will go inside the house, make some copies of this tape, and send it to you, and be done.